Welcome everybody to Both Sides of the Conversation. I'm John Henry, Executive Director of Both Sides of the Conversation. I am happy to be here tonight. This is our Hit Gym segment every Tuesday where we highlight our Black and brown businesses, and we have individuals in the community that are doing things that impact our community coming on our show. So this is always a part of the week where I'm excited because during the week we hear so many things happening. People are down, things are happening, and then Tuesday we get to come celebrate and promote and pay homage to people in the community that are doing things to impact the community in ways that we need it. And I'm just happy to be here tonight. I hope you are too. With that being said, we're going to get ready to get into our segment for tonight. Just want to get out a couple of things. One, I'm sure everybody here in the Bay Area has heard and seen this winter we didn't get a lot of rain. So I want everybody in the community, let's work together and start to conserve water as the drought information is starting to come. The water supply is going to be short this summer. So let's all be courteous and common to everybody. Let's look at our sprinkler systems and back them down a little bit. Let's get in the showers, maybe take a little bit less shower so that we're not impacted, because as the summer months go on and the heat and temperature rises in the Bay Area, things are going to get dry. We're approaching our fire season. So we want to make sure that we have plenty of water. So please be thoughtful and think about it when we're washing our cars and doing different things to help out the community. We got to work together. It takes everybody to work together. So with that being said, just also want to thank out again for the phenomenal Wagon 16 event this weekend. I know we talked about it on Sunday, but I got to say it again. What a phenomenal event. Seeing the community come out, showing love, supporting each other. A lot of brothers and sisters coming out to support and, just wrapping our hands around families who've been impacted by violence and some of their family members and young people being taken away by this violence. And we're working so hard, diligently, to try to stop this in our community. And I know also across the country right now, tensions is high. Another brother killed by police in Minnesota. I know there's riots, different things going on across the country. The tensions is high, but we still got to keep working. We got to still have these conversations, and we got to keep pushing forward together, unified in solidarity, to talk about these things and figure out how we can fix these issues to better impact the community. So looking forward to continue working with community, doing the things that we need to stand in solidarity. And speaking of solidarity, this Saturday, we're going to be having a solidarity event at 12 o'clock at the Civic Center. We're going to have the Black and brown community come together to support the Asian community. As you guys know, we have been dealing with some terrific and horrible acts against our Asian community, with robberies and different things being taking place against our elders in the community. So we're going to come together and unite and support them and let them know that we're there for them. And we got to make sure that we all stick together when these type of acts happen in our community, so that they don't happen any further. So with that being said, before I start, just thank you to all the Both Sides of Conversation staff. We are steady moving this platform forward. We are changing the narrative. We are working in the community. We are highlighting our CBOs, getting the information out. We're going to continue to do that here as we build and grow. We're trying to put this capacity thing. It's a lot of changing parts. I know you guys are seeing a lot of different things happening, but just want to give a shout out to the team for doing a lot of work. There's a lot of changes, but we're trying to make this platform better so that we really live up to our mission and vision and make sure that we're doing the things that we intentionally educate our community, we intentionally have the conversations, and we continue to support our Black and brown business and highlight people in the community that's doing our thing. And our mentorship, you guys know, is very important to me, making sure our young people get the right leaders in the community to support them. And I just want to say shout out to 100% College Prep. I received a message today, a couple of young people that we mentored and worked with, getting them ready for their scholarship. I got phenomenal news. All of the young men that we mentored and went through the process with them received a scholarship. Some got more than others, but it was just a blessing to know all these young brothers that we worked so hard. So shout out to Deontay, shout out to Javier, taking the time out, making sure that these young people was ready for their interviews to talk about their scholarships, and they stepped up. The results is there. So just want to say shout out to them and to Shell and to Miss Diane for doing the work, and shout out to them young brothers, stepping up to the plate, daring to be different, doing the things that they need to do to get their scholarships. And I'm just happy to find out that they received it. So this summer they are going to be taking off, going to college, and we're going to do everything we can here at Both Sides of the Conversation to support them through their journey through college and make sure that they get the mentorship. And when they having the highs and lows, that we call and check into them, and we're going to bring them on the show and continue to support them so they can get through their trial through college, and make sure that we support them as community. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and jump into tonight's Hidden Gem. We have two phenomenal hidden gems tonight. The first brother we're going to bring up, I know a lot of people in the Bay Area know him. They are doing phenomenal work across the Bay Area, and it's no secret. But y'all go get to know he ain't a hidden gem tonight. For all y'all that don't know, you're going to go and know our guy tonight. So I'm going to introduce tonight Rudy. He's the founder and executive director of the United Players, a long-standing violent prevention advocate in the Bay Area. He's been around for a long time, doing phenomenal work in our high schools and all of our communities, showing up for everybody. So when I tell you this brother's a bad dude, bad dude. Y'all listen to the story. Go ahead, Rudy. Introduce yourself to the people tonight.
What's happening, John Henry?
All right.
It takes the hood to save the hood, baby.
Let's go.
I'm really honored, man, to be on the show with you and get to share. Hello, everybody who's out there paying attention and watching. Man, Rudy Corpus, United Players, born and raised in Frisco, still live in Frisco. I run a violence prevention organization that's been pushing the line for 27 years. Started at Balboa High School. Well, I was a gang prevention counselor up at Burnham Heights Neighborhood Center, right? District 11, where Balboa High School had a lot of violence going on with different sets and turfs. I was sent down there to try to calm things down. And during that time, a big fight broke out between blacks and Filipinos. Big fight. A lot of people got hurt. It was on a newspaper. Anyway, I wanted to end the violence that was going on at the school as much as I can because nobody was getting educated. And so me, some administration up there, there's a dude named Andre Alexander. He was the coach of the football team, right? He was a good brother. And there was a dude, Samoan dude up there named Leite. Man, that dude's like 6'4", 500 pounds. That was the muscle. We got a lot of administration and students who was a part of different organizations on campus. They came together. We brought all these brothers together who was in a fight, right? And we sat them down. They was willing to sit down and figure out what started the fight. And, you know, we came up with the solution. We found out what started. It was over nothing. And we like, you know, I'm telling them, y'all willing to go to prison? Y'all willing to die over nothing? And what was it over? You know, most wars, it was over a girl. I said, what girl is it? They said, man, it was Whoop-de-Wop. I said, oh, hell no, she ain't even that pretty. Y'all finna die over her? And so everybody started, you know, like, you right. So I said, what y'all want to do, man? They say, ain't nothing happening on this campus. The kids started saying, man, we need to have activities up here. Football activities at lunchtime, basketball, talent shows. I said, that ain't nothing, man. We can make it happen, but I need your help. So the kids came with all the solutions to stop the violence. All I did was help them organize, put it together, started working. So the Latinos and Samoans got together and they had a fight with the blacks. So I used the same formula. Now you have blacks, Latinos, Samoans, and Filipinos all at the table at BAL. And anybody knows at Balboa High School, that's what was happening there in 94. And so they started coming up with the same ideas. Snowball, they said, man, this is working. It's stopping the violence at school campus. Not all of it, but on that large magnitude, there was no more violence jumping off as far as turfs and different ethnicities. And then they said, just name this organization this club. So we y'all want to name it. I gave the power to the people. They said, man, Black in 94, you know, Forte and the Players Club was out, Get Low Players. And so youngster from Lakeview, his name was Drees Hollis, said United coming together. And I put the words player because I'm a real player from Frisco. You understand me? And boom, United Players was born. Watch this. 27 years later, we're worldwide. You fucking with a player with a passport for real right now. You hear me? And on top of that, we deal with all ages now, from the elementaries to adults in the penitentiary. And so, you know, everything in that gamut that's under umbrella is for prevention and violence. That's what we're doing. You know, there's so many different other organizations that supported us on the way. Big shout outs to a lot of them. You know, there's an organization that's pushing a hard line now, Us for Us. Damien, Uncle D, you know, hard guy, you know, dude out there working hard, pushing a line to end violence. You know, Black Wall Street, Tanisha, out there in Hunters Point. There's so many different organizations. The VSIP, the violence group that goes around and neutralizes different altercations that happens on the streets and in the schools. So it takes the hood to say the hood. There's so much of us that's, you know, out there, and, you know, like you said, though, John Henry, you know, they ain't getting the gyms, But God knows the real work that people are doing. I'm just glad that I'm part of it to help out. But it all started from the youth. Power
Man,
to the people, baby.
all power to the people, man. Hey,
Worldwide,
Rudy.
man. I got a chapter in the Philippines, baby. I got one in the South Bronx. We working, man, with the Crips and the Bloods in LA. I got them all on my team now. You know, the Samoans out there. We actually pushing the line, man. And we damn near in every prison now.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. You
Level
everywhere. Hey, UP is everywhere. Every time I go
football
somewhere,
players everywhere, baby.
I see United players everywhere. I said, look at my guy, my guy. But that's what it's about. Touching the people and
Amen.
doing the work. And I think one thing that you have that's very unique that a lot of people don't understand is you real, you authentic, right? And you show everybody love, right?
Amen.
And you meet people where they at. Like we was at the event this past weekend, and one thing that I know about, see, when you good people want to be around you, and your squad is always there. So that just tell you about leadership. And I was telling you before we came on about how many programs, different organizations that came under UP, developed to do everything. And I always think that great leadership does that, right? I have a belief here at both sides of the conversation that I always say, right? Great leaders demonstrate what is possible. You get what I'm saying?
I got you.
So you that living, you know what I'm saying? That's real leadership to me. You can't teach that type of stuff.
John,
Rudy.
it's all God's work, baby. You dig what I'm saying? If you working for God, you can't be no lazy soldier. And right. God don't choose no suckers to do his work. You hear me? I mean, look at you, brother, man. You know, you pushing the line, baby. Look at you. You know what I mean? You doing your thing.
But I see brothers like you. Y'all inspire me. I can't stop.
I'm born and raised in Frisco. I'm from the South of Market TL neighborhood. I should tear things up. I'm from the 80s, man. Well, I used to be a part of that crack cocaine thing. You know what I mean? But I just learned, man, through my experience and my tribulations and my falls, how to use all that same energy to get back to the community and the people. I'm a hustler. And, you know, the players we talking about, they talk about them players with all the women, all them jewels, or them all those players are played out. They got life sentences. They got them LWOPs. I'm talking about the players that's doing something positive and productive for their people in the hood now. Like you, John.
That's on, all man.
We making something.
It's a players club. It's a players club, baby. We doing the work. We blessing the community. And you know, one thing that I know about you, what I know about you, Rudy, is from the heart, man. And it's so hard, right? You know, Rudy, you know, we from the city, you know, there's a lot of poverty pimps in our community.
Yes, there is.
There's a lot of people coming in, you know what I'm saying, trying to just get money off the people and doing all this. See, when you do it from the heart, you don't worry about all that. Because like you said earlier, God bless everything that's taking care of doing his soldier work for him. You know what I'm saying? But there's a lot of people, you know, that's disingenuous, man. And we trying to change that. We call it out.
At the same time, John, we got to hold them accountable and call them out. You know,
that's what it is.
We just can't be saying, oh, look, man, you know, we know them cats, man, they don't doing it. They poverty pimping. If we don't say nothing to them, then we allow them to do it. I'm not going to let that happen in my neighborhood. I'm going to give you the from the neck up and let you know what it don't do. You hear me?
Right. Somebody from the community said silence is violence, man. And I think it's time for all of our communities to start, like you said, holding people accountable. And that's what we do here. We holding people accountable. We don't care if it's an elected official, if it's a community leader, if it's a community organization, because again, somebody got to take a stand. Right, we just got to call out what's right is right, what's wrong is wrong, and that's just my belief. And we got to do better. And the only way we make change, instead of everybody standing back and be like, "Oh, because he this," and don't want to say nothing, we had to start saying something, challenging the difference to make change. You know, just proud of you, man, for all the stuff you're doing. How the young people, y'all evolving and doing the stuff, man. You never show up, and every time there's a violent situation. Before that, in that, you always there. You're always there with the families, Mario Woods, different situations. You always show up and you bring love. And one thing that I know, Rudy, every time I called you, you answer the phone, you want to work with people, right? And a lot of time in the community, everybody sometimes
they get real though, John. I fucks with real people. Real people work with real people, and I disconnect from the fake, bro. Because like you said, there's a lot. I'm gonna tell you like this, man. There's a sucker born every 10 seconds.
Right.
And man, there's so many people, man, in this game that ain't for real, man. That's why what socks are black on the game too. And that's why brothers like you know, I need to stick with. That's why, man, I come with you with the quickness because I know where your heart is at, though, player.
Right,
You know
right.
what I'm saying? Come on, man.
Man,
You
hey,
got a
real
baby, you
rec.
got that
Hey, you know in
$1 billion
Frisco, we
smile.
always
Look
say
at,
real recognize real.
come
In the
on,
town,
man.
they say it's in you,
I
not
just
on
need
it. You
teeth
know.
like you, man. Look at my teeth jacked up. Shit. Yeah, your shit fly.
Hey, I've been trying to get it, but no, Rudy.
Yeah,
Community. I know I've been trying to reach out to you, and we busy. We do a lot,
that's
and
right.
you always been a man of your word, and that's one thing about this work is you have to be a man of your word. And what I mean by that is, see, executive directors are supposed to lead by example. Okay,
100.
and we always ain't available, right? But I still hold them accountable to reach back, and that's one thing about you, Rudy. You might be busy, but you like, bro, I'm gonna get back to you. And
100.
you always follow up. And I like that because we got people in the community that's supposed to serve the community. You can't get a hold of them. They never return your
Yeah,
call.
come on.
Talk to the executive. Like, we know you can't get to everybody, but when you got people that's important and doing things that impact the community, you got to pick up the phone and show some that love back because we're not bigger than nobody. And that's one thing that I watch you, Rudy, over the years. Even when
Thank you, brother.
Cowboy was up there at Bow, when Cowboy was up there,
Cowboy, shout out to
you
Cowboy.
shout out to Cowboy. You always met the young people where they at. You never thought you was better than them. You always talked to them on their level and kept it real with them. That's why they respect you and they move the way they move for you. So just want to shout you out, man. That's why we had you come on tonight as a hidden gem,
Thank you, baby.
just to
Thank you.
highlight you, brother. Give you your flowers and say, bro, your movement is real. You stand with all communities. You don't never get into this, I'm that. You love everybody, and that's what it's all about. And
Real
that's
talk.
what I keep pushing. The solidarity thing. I keep talking about it. I know it's a big campaign. Everybody's pushing for solidarity. And I'm like, I'm all for it. But the thing is, that looks like 7 days a week, 365 days a year. We can't just turn our back and choose when we want to jump in the party. And it's brothers like you that lead by example every day, no matter what's going on. You show up and you show up with a crew, and you're always willing to give a giving hand. So
Hey,
that's
man,
that's
I'm gonna tell you
important, man.
like this though, man. I'm a part of the movement for real. I'm not a part of the moment. Like Nip said, man, it's a marathon, baby. And biblically it says, um, those, it's not the fight ain't one to the strong or swift. It's the one who can endure. You dig what I'm saying? And I'm in it for the long run. This is my purpose in life. I found that whatever, my pain was, I was able to change it to my purpose. And God is good, man. You know what I mean? And I'm very thankful that I'm in an opportunity because I'm on borrowed time, baby. You know what I mean? And so now that I'm here, knowing what my purpose in life is, I'm a bang, baby, just like I banged when I was on the streets before. But I'm banging for change now because the concrete still is my office. You know what I
Right.
mean? Them streets is my turf. That's my office. That's my computer. You know
Come
what I mean?
on.
Look.
That's
All right, look. Still got a flip phone, pimping. Come on now.
hey, Rudy.
Come on, man. I'm working on it.
That's the saying. Boots on the ground, and you
Yeah.
always got 10 toes on the ground, beating up the concrete, man. And that's what it's all about, man. So just wanted to highlight you. Thank you,
Right
give
on.
you
Right
your
on.
homage because it's very important that people know, man. It takes everybody, and that's what me and Shaman was talking about. Everybody plays a part. You know what I mean?
Shout
You
out to
have your
Shaman
part.
Walden.
Yeah. I
That's his
have my
friend.
part. Damien have his part. Everybody has a part in this to make this change this narrative, and keep doing the work, brother. We go keep supporting you. Anything you need us to do here at both sides of the conversation, I have you. If there's any flyers, any events, anything you want us to blast out on our social media handles to get out to the community, that's
Sure.
what we're here for. My
Sure.
job, I got to hold myself accountable. I've been asked by community to help change the narrative. Make sure that the community gets the information. Let's work together, unite the community. Let's educate the community. And that's what I'm going to continue to push here. Our team believes in that.
Right
We're
on.
about the community first. We ain't about the monetary. We about the community first. And
All
we want
that
people
comes
in the
later,
community
baby.
continue. Yep. We got to continue to keep blessing. So, man, thank you very much for coming on. And just hanging there for a second. We'll get up our next hidden gem, and then we'll come back and have a quick conversation. But thank you. You one of our hidden gem.
Hey,
We already know
salute
you
to
ain't
a real
hitting.
one.
After
Salute to
tonight,
a
you
real
ain't
one.
hit. Everybody know United Players is.
Take the
All
hood
right,
to
man.
the Daddy, yo. Take the hood
Yes,
to the
sir.
hood. Right on,
All
John
right.
Henry.
All right.
Respect,
Yes, sir. All right. With that being said, we're gonna go ahead and bring up our other hidden gem tonight. This brother's doing some amazing thing. He is out of the country right now, so we might get a little choppy service. You might hear a little feedback because he is out here doing some amazing work. Our guy Solomon was born in Miami. He was a U.S. Marine Corps veteran, California State University Northridge graduate. He's a world traveler, been to 13 different countries. Founded an organization called Golden Aya Group, dedicated to the African diaspora, and he's doing education, health, and development. So he's running a STEM program. So I'm gonna bring this brother up here to further tell everybody what he's doing and how he's impacting the community. With that being said, we're gonna welcome my brother Solomon.
Hey, John, thanks for having me. A little bit about myself. Thanks for that amazing intro as well. A little bit about myself, like John mentioned, I was a United States Marine. I served in, or I was stationed in California, Camp Pendleton. From there, I went to school at California State University, Northridge, and that's where I really started my travels to Africa. The first country I visited was Ethiopia. I went from Ethiopia to Ghana, Tanzania, Djibouti, and a few other countries on the continent, as well as countries outside of the Africa, like Cuba, Suriname, Mexico, and so many more. So one of my goals is to travel the world and see everywhere. In my traveling, I found myself, my brother, and my cousin. We traveled together to some places. From that, we decided to come together and create an organization that gave back to our people, and helped our people connect through the diaspora. Because one thing we saw was that there was a big disconnect from America to Africa, from people in Belize, people in Suriname that we found, the Maroon tribe, and they're not really connected back with the continent. So we thought about different ways that we can connect, and focusing on health, education, and development was three of the main ways that we saw that we could impact Africa, but also invite people to come back to Africa to visit, explore, things like that, to try to create that connection. So Golden Aid is a Pan-African organization centered around Africa and its diaspora, and we look to unite Africa and make it self-sustainable. So with that, we create programs that foster like unity with our volunteer program, with our after school program we currently have running now is we call it E plus STEAM after school program, and that's just English, science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics. With our mathematics portion, we include financial literacy. So students not only learn how to do math and the math formulas, but they also learn about different types of investment, profit, the whole financial literacy aspect is thrown into our math portion. And then with that, we invite volunteers to come out and actually assist with coaching with the teachers, so they'll learn the lesson plans with the teachers and actually implement that. So we've had a few volunteers come out so far, but because of COVID, many people aren't traveling so much. So we're hoping that after COVID, we see an influx of people coming back to volunteer. But yeah, our after school program is really good. The initiative in the country of Tanzania is to actually implement STEM into their curriculums. So we're actually the first program here on the continent that's actually implementing STEM in the after school program. And we're actually working with the Arusha government to actually get it into their schools. With that, right now, because our program is in such high demand, we're actually looking to open up an after school, I mean, not an after school program, but an actual school chain, which would be like a primary school, secondary school, and high school, which are equivalent to like an elementary, a middle school, and a high school, to help get these students through the program and then into the workforce all the way up into retirement. So just creating that pipeline of STEM here on the continent. And that's what we're working to do. We have like health programs that we're also setting up as well, where volunteers can come out and work in the hospitals here. And we're actually looking to build a health center near our school. So the government here has granted us land of about 20 acres for our whole school chain. And we're actually looking to raise funds, or we're actually in the process of raising funds now in order to build our schools in Arusha, Tanzania.
Wow, that's phenomenal, phenomenal. I got to figure out how we can get some of this stuff here in America on the soil, because with this COVID, we have some educators coming on to talk about some of the struggles and some of the things that's going on with the American education system. Is failing our people, and sounds like what you guys are doing out there is doing something phenomenal, phenomenal for the people. And I think we got to start looking at different ways about this education, and STEM is one of the most powerful ways to really get our young people driving forward and making change and being able to be impacted in the future for sustainability, especially when you're talking about financial literacy. That's one of like my big pushes here, trying to get this information into our young people early so they don't make the mistakes
Mm-hmm.
that we made. Start investing young so that when they get up to retirement age, they can actually live a good life and leave some generational wealth for the next generation. So phenomenal stuff. So how did you get connected with all of this? I mean, did you just start off from school? I mean, or was it coming out of the Marines? What intrigued you to get into this STEM work?
Well, STEM is just like one portion of what we do. When we only started to do STEM because we saw the need for it here on the continent. Before we start any project, we do research within the local community to find out what the needs are. And first, we came to Tanzania in October of 2019, and we stayed for about 3 months. And that whole time, we volunteered with current projects that were going on from some of our partner organizations, and really dove into what was the miss, what was the country missing, what was the initiatives rolling out. And once we saw STEM as an opportunity, we just reached back to the U.S. and found STEM professionals like Dr. Gladys Bowen, and brought her in to help us develop a curriculum that would really be impactful on the continent. And one thing we do with our STEM is a lot of hands-on, including theoretical. So most times we see a lot of theoretical, no hands-on experience. We include a lot of hands-on experience. Students get to build things. Like for example, they just had engineering day, I believe it was like yesterday. And what they did was they built a well, and they built the well from scratch to learn about pulleys and simple machines. And they were able to not only build it, but actually play with it and see how these simple machines work. So they didn't just get the theory a pulley does X, Y, and Z, but they said, oh, I actually get to play with it and see what a pulley does and then tie it together with that theory. So STEM has just been something that myself I'm learning as well because I'm not a STEM professional. But we have STEM professionals on our team that's helping develop the curriculum and put it all together. And that's how we got into STEM from that part. But no matter where we go, whether we go to Ghana, Mozambique, or any other African country, whatever that need is, we try to address those needs based off the research.
Man, phenomenal stuff. And while people are listening out there, because I do mentorship, and I'm a big proponent of teaching young men how to change tires and put on the tie and interview. Can you just kind of explain what that looked like when they learning these pulleys, how important and how significant that is? And I know we turn into a society where everything's about academia, and I'm all for it. But it's also a level of teaching young man, how to be man, how to change flat
Mm-hmm.
tires, and how to, use mechanical aptitude and different things of that nature. What are some of the results when you see this? Because I tell people this is very phenomenal, and some of these kids they get so excited, intrigued, and they like, why we can't have more of this in school? And I think, just some of our DNA and how it's made up, we learn different. And I think
Mm-hmm.
bringing some of this type of stuff back into schools is also helping build up a generation of young people to impact, the world moving forward. So yeah, what do you think about that? Going through those programs and watching them go through using some of this stuff to build stuff.
Yeah, I think that's very important because it gives them insight on things that one they know that they can do it just by going through the practice and the motions of doing it, and then they can actually apply it to like real world scenarios. Because maybe they learn about a pulley for a well today, but then they learn that they can use a pulley for something else to make life simpler, and then it applies everywhere. So even like the design process, they learn and they can apply that all throughout their life. So these are like tangible skills that they can take with them. And it also peaks like critical thinking because now they get to think, what else can I do with this? We saw one student take the model that we built, and they went to their school and showed their teacher. And they said, oh, teacher, look what I can build. And they built it from scratch and replicated what they built in the class. And just to go to that school and meet with the head teacher, or which would be the equivalent of the principal, and him have a replica of what we built on his desk that the student built for him. It was really amazing to know that these students are actually not only learning the material, but able to duplicate that and then apply it to real world situations. So as they get older, they'll be able to always apply these things that they're learning and then put it together, manipulate it to benefit them and whatever need they may have in that moment. So it's always great to have that hand-on experience for sure.
That's right, man. That's deep. That's powerful. I know in the information that came across, you guys are also taking volunteers, and it's a way to get to Africa and learn a little bit about Africa. And I know you said come see Africa for what it is and not on TV. Can you talk about that? Because there's a stigma about Africa, especially in the Black community in America. So can you kind of
Uh-huh.
articulate and let people know what we're missing and what TV is not really showing about the country of Africa and some of the countries that we have out there, some of the places that you've been, just some of the experiences that we necessarily won't get on TV.
Yeah, so prior to coming to Africa, I had some of the same stigmas or some of the same biases that most of us have just from what we see on TV, which is the bones in the nose, the old-fashioned traditional houses, no electricity, no power, no internet, and they're just very primitive. Coming to the actual continent, first even going to Ethiopia was my first location. The moment I got out of the plane in the airport and I saw how developed Ethiopia was, it was just a straight culture shock for me because I was like, wow, their buildings are some of them are bigger than the ones in the U.S. Running power, running water, and like well-designed system, roads, and then there are those areas that they do show on TV, but they're very small compared to the overall continent and then or country, and then even coming to Tanzania, seeing the same thing. Ghana is super developed, and then there's a lot of repatriation Americans that have moved to Ghana, so there's a big community there as well. So you see like development everywhere, and it's still developing. But one thing you don't see is like so much of that primitive stuff that you see on TV. Like you won't see that coming off the airport or coming off the plane in the airport. You have to go and find those areas like on a tour. You'll go and they'll take you to see, oh, look at the primitive people. And then these primitive people, they still come in to the actual city and operate and mingle around with the locals. So you get to see that. And then like for me, another big eye opener was that we were the majority. In America, often we're the minority. But then being on the continent, you're the majority. You see big black business owners, black everywhere. You can't miss a beat. And they're welcoming. It's like as soon as you come in, they, hey brother, how are you? Welcome home, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it's very welcoming, and the community is like very friendly. Like growing up in Miami, we we're taught like, the bean mug and don't say nothing to nobody. Here they see you, hey, how you doing? And it's very like, a culture shock because I'm used to being like reserved. And then, they just open me up. So now, even when I'm back in the US, I'm, hey, everybody, hi, and all that stuff because it just carries over. And you find that it's that good spirit.
Man, I'm glad you said that because a lot of people, we got to get Africa on our bucket list. I've never been. I'm trying to go. I just see my boy JR from New Black World Media out there having a good time in Ghana. I said, I got to go. I got a couple places on my list that I got to get going. It's kind of hard right now because I'm trying to impact the community with all that's going on. But I got to get out there, man, and I got to come to the motherland and see what's going on because I keep getting the same feedback. Like, you got to go. The energy is great, and people are definitely thriving, evolving. And what a way to get out there, man. So just want to say thank you for what you're doing and getting that exposure and coming back and letting people know. I know we got a brother in San Francisco, Officer JJ. They have a program where they take young people to Africa and stuff. And we need more programs like that. And I think because I think here in America, our young people have got spoiled and we've got the American privilege. But I think places like going to Africa and different third world countries and stuff like that is a good opportunity to help build up some of our young people. I think,
Mm-hmm.
I've been really trying to figure out how do we design programs to get these young people out of the urban areas and out of the country to see other things, because I think when you travel, it gives you a different perspective, a different
Yep.
understanding, and it makes you appreciate some of the things that we do have that we necessarily don't always appreciate. So I think that's phenomenal. So man, thank you for all the work you're doing out there, blessing the people with your energy. Definitely, I'm going to reach out to you and just find out about some of the volunteer stuff you got, get some of the information, because I know upcoming there's a trip for me coming to Ghana or Nigeria. I know a lot of people that from Nigeria that's like, you have to go, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely going to push that up and get that on my bucket list and get my butt out there and come check everything out. So thank you again, man, for coming on tonight, way across the country, man. So don't tell me both sides of the conversation ain't reaching people all across the world. My brother tuning in from Tanzania, doing his thing. So thank you. If it's any last words you want to say, I'm gonna bring Rudy up and ask our question for the night. And really, if it's anything else you want to say, go ahead and say it
Yeah,
now.
I'll point out one more thing, one more aspect of our program. Part of our program is cross-cultural. We have a cross-cultural program where we work with some schools in the U.S. to have our students communicate with those students. So even though the students can't come out to Africa, they can share different aspects of their countries and then just create that bond with the youth. So that's one cool thing that we're doing too, just to reach back and to tie them and actually pique that interest to actually want to come and visit the continent, because now they have an African friend through that communication program.
Wow, phenomenal stuff. That's what's up. And then the COVID out there, I just wanted to ask, how bad was the COVID impacted out there? I know in America it was really bad, but there was places that didn't get hit that hard with the COVID. Was it big impact out there, or was just kind of the same?
No, it wasn't an impact out here pretty much at all. We had maybe a few cases reported. I guess we still take precautions, washing our hands. When we go into like public places, we'll still wear a mask, but it's not heavy out here at all. I think once tourism shut down, it pretty much let the country be able to like breathe. So once it wasn't here, then it didn't really spread.
Wow, that's deep. That's deep. Well, thank you, brother, for the work you're doing. Keep blessing the people. And definitely, I'm gonna be reaching out to you and try to connect and get some information. I'm gonna put my number in the chat too, just so before you leave. But I guess tonight the question is, because we had another police shooting, we've had a couple of shootings in the community with violence. It's a couple questions. This mental health thing. Um, Mental health is starting to impact us across the world. I'm in the belief that mental health is just as bad as this pandemic, and we need to throw all of the resources and money to this mental health issue in America as well as across the world. Um, so my question to you guys is, how do we make this mental health thing cool? That we get the young people, we start getting people that look like us involved, the Black and brown community, to start embracing this mental health thing, because it's really a thing that really needs to it needs to stay on the forefront. But how do we get this, or what do you guys think about this mental health thing? How do we make this thing culturally cool, break the stigma, so that we can start impacting our people to get mental health services? One, you could go, Rudy. Go ahead. One of y'all can go. It doesn't.
Okay. I mean, even before I start, I just want to say, hey, salute to you, brother Solomon, for the amazing work you're doing. And hey, John, I'm coming out there with you, player. I've been wanting to come out to Africa, man, and see my folks out there too. So we got on my bucket list too. So and I'm gonna tell you like this. This is just, mental health is something that I think our people have been doing way back in the days. It just got kidnapped by other people, and now, like in America, when somebody, man, from the hood say, "Oh man, I'm gonna go see a mental health person," they think you're crazy. And so in order, I think, to change that narrative, to make it right, you need people to step up to the game that these youngsters are looking up to. Who they looking up to? A lot of artists. They looking up to a lot of like celebrities. And so maybe some of these celebrities who a lot of these youngsters look up to needs to start spreading the message that way. Maybe in some music, right? Maybe when they start speaking that this is a real thing that's happening, and that we need to make sure, man, that you got to get the right sufficient support that you need so we can survive through this. And so, I think, man, we need people, man, who people look up to. Like a lot of kids look up to these artists, for them to step up and start saying, man, that's what needs to happen. I think that's just one of it. There's a lot of different ways, John, maybe we could think of different names of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
sound hip to make it sound cool.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things, changing mental health to maybe some wellness. But I think we just got to incorporate a little bit more, especially the services in the community. Rudy, you do violence prevention. I'm out there. We see these people they get killed. The families there's no grievance counselors, right? Then we have these professionals who really not culturally appropriate, so they don't want to come to the community. Because see, what I hear is all of these mental health services, they want people to come to their location. They want to come to their office, or they want them to come downtown, right? The people in the community ain't doing that. We have to come to them, and that's why I like your approach, Rudy. You always meet people where they at. And I don't know if we, and I'm honest, I've been talking about this. I don't know if we need to hire security people to go with the mental health providers. I think it needs to happen in the school. Radical over here, but I'm thinking that it's time for corporations and employment, and we got to get this legislatively put in our workday. If we incorporate it in a way of that, we could really start impacting change, because then people at work, oh, I have to go see a therapist. It's not a, you know what I mean? It'll start loosening it up. But I think we got to look at some different ways with this mental health. But the reason why I'm hitting on it as hard as the pandemic is another thing is we learned in the pandemic, uh, it was a crisis, and a lot of executive orders was put in place to kind of lower the restriction for some of the nurses to get there, because we needed people. And I've talked to some mental health people that's been on this platform. We have another mental health conversation coming up on May 2nd. And one of the biggest things is the schooling, the hours to get certified, and then how far you have to go up the ladder to actually start being monetized in a way that's really impacting them. And then I hear there's a lot of burnout, right? So again, if we treat it like this crisis, we could throw millions and trillions of dollars at it. And maybe it's time that we start lowering some of the requirements, not saying all, but to start getting people that look like us in the Black and brown community, so we can understand it. And I know they do a good job in the South. I was talking to a few people in Atlanta and Florida, and it's not as bad because it's more people like us down there. But when you hear in the Bay Area, and the numbers is so different, we're real diverse here. But I think we got to find a way to increase the pay, lower some of the standards to get people out in the field. Because I'm a big believer in, yes, you have to go to college and get all of this, but the real work is really in the streets doing it. That's why I think apprenticeship programs are so successful. I know some people have issues with unions, but I think the reason why the apprenticeship model works so good is because you're earning while you're learning. And it's nothing like that hands-on experience, because you can go to college and learn all this stuff in a book, and the employer is still going to say, you need the work experience. So I think incorporating the tool like that apprenticeship model, working and learning on the job, I think that's very, very powerful.
I think, thinking outside the boxes, we have to get there for us to start moving forward. And so, what I learned, man, throughout these years is that we ended up finding out people of color who was already qualified and certified to do the work, and we incorporated them in our organization. So some of my staff, because, we deal with frontline stuff. And so when they, at the end of the day, they have to, man, relinquish what they feel and talk to somebody. So we got somebody now who knows how to deal with our people, and then also know how to deal with the youth. Because, the youth, man, they deal with so many different landmines just to go to school, And so, we're incorporating it. I think that's one thing I learned, is we start finding our own way and get aggressive and be bullies in this game, man, and start handling ourselves.
Yeah, that's real. Solomon, you want to jump in there?
Yeah, I would say both of you hit on like great points as far as how to implement it and get it known. I say another way is just really getting it to them while they're young. Starting out in like the primary schools or elementary schools, getting them used to going to see their counselor would really, really, really make that difference. Because once they grow up seeing it, by the time they get to our age, they're going as a routine. A daily routine. So, really impacting the youth and getting them out there going even before they run into any problems, just as a normal checkup, just like it's going to like a doctor visit. You got to go get your doctor visit, go get your checkup, make mental health one of those checkups that is done. And you will start seeing many, many people doing it just out of routine.
Hey, I agree, because one of the things I know they do with kids, man, of color, they won't give them the right necessary, help that they need. They just prescribe them pills, or they give them something, and they even make them more, like they just stuck. And then so, and you're right though, Solomon. I think at a young age, as young as these elementary schools, the kids need to start getting these services. You dig what I'm saying? Yeah. That's one of the most effective things that I think we change. Is when I was doing gang prevention, like I said from the beginning, I was only working with high school. The dude who gave me the idea to work with elementary school kids was a dude who was on death row. His name was Stanley Tookie Williams. He was a good friend of mine before they executed him in 2005. And he used to tell me up in San Quentin, he said, hey, Rudy, man, You need to start talking to them young kids. And I used to be like, what? He said, man, I'm telling you, they're the most vulnerable population. So from death row, from right there from the shelf, he started writing children's books that went all around the world. He made a movie, right, called Redemption, that was done. The movie was played by Jamie Foxx. But he knew that his life wasn't going to be spared. So he started saying, man, start getting at the young, like you were saying, Solomon. And he wrote them books. And so that's what I started doing, is working with younger kids. And it started really working, man. And so that's one of our most effective programs now, is the elementary kids, getting at them while they're young.
Yeah, it's a special workforce, special group to deal with those young people, but we got to do it because, again, in our community, with all the violence, the gunshots, like you said, that trauma,
Real
you
talk.
start, and a lot of these teachers don't understand it, and they always trying to figure out why. When these kids are experiencing domestic violence, gang violence, all the stuff that's going on in our neighborhoods, sideshows, keeping the kids up, before they can even go to school and get ready, they got all of this trauma and stuff that they deal with from the night before. And I think one thing also helps is for the brothers. I'm gonna just talk about not the young sisters. We're gonna talk about the brothers. And I think, Rudy, you do a good job at it. Every time I see you around young people and the people in the community, you always embrace them with love and say, I love you. I noticed that about you. We did that, me and Toriano, this weekend. And I think that's something as black man and colored man and all of the men in the community. We got to start making this thing cool. It's all right to embrace each other,
100.
say we love you, King. We support each other because we have to change this narrative. And it does start young, letting these young kids know it's okay. And this weekend, man, I was able to just grab a lot of them young brothers, man, and some of the parents that I knew, and just tell them, man, I love you, man. Anything you need, like, I'm here. Anything going on, come talk to me. And we got to extend the hand. And I'm big here at both sides of the conversation. I'm all about trying to build this gap with our young people and the elders. And I have to agree sometimes with our young people. Some of the elders in the community are not willing to pass the torch, and I'm fighting. I get a lot of heat for it, but I think it's time, like Rudy said, we got to start letting these young people feel empowered and let them use that energy to help share that love, because they're very intelligent. They have a lot of ideals, and a lot of times the ideals get shut down because, instant gratification and some of our heroes in the community that don't want to let go. But we got to start embracing these young people, listen to their ideals.
Yeah, and they really do, man, because I think, even a lot of people, man, older men, they scared to deal with young people. They fear them, man. If you're going to be scared, man, you don't need to be doing this type of work. You're going to have to step out the way, man. You got to have enough courage to be out there in the field and be willing, man, to sacrifice your life for the cause. And I think, man, they hungry, man. They starving, like, they want it. They want to be loved. And they may not, they may not trust you at first, but through your actions, if you could be consistent and you start showing them, you go to juvenile hall, you meet them where they're at, you start giving them the things that when they ask, just little things, you know what I mean? It's not even monetary things. It's just to be there for them. When they call you to answer the phone, then trust me, they get it. And they know who's real and who's not.
Wow. Powerful. Last question of the night, and then I'm going to let you guys go. I really appreciate you guys hanging in here. We know this police shooting happened. Another shooting. There's been a number of events that's taken place in America, and it continues to keep happening. Have we got to a point to where, as Black and brown community, we just don't mean anything no more? Like, we are just an object to them, and it's no turning back. I mean, I've watched all these type of case interaction. It just seems that the implicit bias is just there, and there's no holdback. It's just whatever it is. And I know what part of it is the systemic racism that goes on. We just haven't had, or we haven't been able to cross that bridge to dealing with this thing in America called race. It's a real issue. There's some hate there. And I don't know if we ever go get across that bridge to change it and fix it. But another shooting happened, another life taken. To you guys, and I know, Willie, you do violence. We got our own thing, and I'm so sick of hearing this. Yeah, black people kill black people. Every race kill each other because if they in that close proximity. Well, how do we fix this? Not just from the police end. How do we stop these killings and this violence? How do we really impact these young people? And I know, Rudy, you doing the work. And I know Simon, by the programs you're doing, is giving them other ways. And I think it's a combination of all of that. But this thing has gotten bad, especially here in the Bay Area. I mean, Oakland right now is the highest homicide rate in the first start of the year. The shooting and homicides is going up in San Francisco. I mean, across all the urban cities. How do we fix this with our young people? What is the solution, or what do you guys think we need to do? I know there's a big push for equity. I know a lot of this stuff is driven by finance, like Rudy said, relationships. How do we get our young people to just, it's okay to have a disagreement and walk away and live another day? How do we get to that point, y'all?
And I think, like Brother Rudy said, it's like with those elders reaching back and showing that love to those youngins, and showing them that there's other alternatives than resorting to like those violences. I think a big with all of it, it resorts back to us. We have to be the change we want to see. We can't expect like the people in power of law making and all that stuff to make the changes for us. We got to look and see how can we make the changes within our own community, and then stand together and unite when it comes to businesses. Stop with all this you got a business individual shit. That ain't gonna work. We got to pull our resources together and show that we have a staple to make a change, and then that's when they'll start respecting us as a people, and then that way if they do cause harm to us or whatever case, we'll be able to go at them toe to toe. We'll have enough resources to go with them toe to toe. Get the best lawyers. Get even our people. Send them to school to become lawyers. Make being a lawyer cool. That way we can start representing ourselves. And that way we don't always have to be represented by like white people or Jews or whoever may be in power at that time. We got to look at ourselves and say, what can we do? So programs like Brother Rudy, programs like mine's, your platform, us working together, even like this conversation is going to spark that interest, but we just got to do it at a much bigger scale.
Hey, Brother Solomon, you hit the nail on the coffin, baby. And that's my motto. It takes the hood to say the hood. And we do got to start young. And I'm very hopeful and I'm optimistic. The way I think, I live over here, man, 6th Street, Tenderloin area, man, it's off the hook out here. You know what I mean? It's shootings every day, twice on Sundays. And it's normal. People laying on the floor. People just seem like they lost their humanity and kindness for what's going on. But I truly believe, right, like we have to start controlling the narrative of what's going on. Look you got the George Floyd case going down right now. If you look at the news, all they show is like young black males jumping on Asians to try to separate black and brown, which were natural born allies. You know what I mean? So we got to control the narrative like you're doing, John, and putting brothers on your platform like you're doing so they see the positive stuff. And we need to start educating and teaching the kids the truth. You know what I mean? Stop sugarcoating them, give it to them rough, rugged, and raw, and let them know. Because what's raising them now is a lot of so if you think about the prison industry, the school industry, and the whole social system, they're part of the same social system. And what they're doing is they controlling, man, the powers that be, what they listen to on the radio. If you listen to watch kids now, they say every word by word, man, of negative music and about killing, the death culture. But who's actually teaching them the truth? So it's on us to teach them, man. Even I listen to the music and I like it. But at the same time, I'm an older man and I understand it. It's entertainment. But to these kids, they don't. And so we got to teach them, man, the truth about it and break it down to them if we're going to start anywhere. Because, man, I'm going to tell you, it's going to get worse, but it'll get better, baby.
Wow. See, that's why I asked these questions. That was very powerful, Rudy. And I think you hit it right on the nail on the head, the hammer on the nail, as they say, because we have become desensitized. And I always tell people, my experience, growing up in Bayview and Hunters Point, the first funeral I went to, I was very emotional, crying and sad. Then the second funeral, I wasn't crying as much. Then the third funeral, it didn't even matter no more. Right. And I think the more killers you have and the more funerals you go to, it don't even matter no more.
It's just
we're not even thinking it's just a normal thing. And so I think that's a part of it. But telling the truth, Rudy, you hit it on the point. It is time for our elders to stop lying and get back out of reality and get into reality.
Hey, John, look at this country, man. Hey, look at this country, bro. This country is based on lies to our people. They never taught us from the beginning, man, who we are and what the true history is. They taught us not to love each other. I didn't learn about being Filipino, man, until I was locked up with all the dudes who was doing life. You know what I mean? I couldn't hang with the brothers no more. You know what I mean? And I had to learn, man, from my own people, being incarcerated, man, about my culture, my people. And, man, I learned so much. We was kings and queens. If you look at the history book in America, it's this thick, but there ain't nothing but 1 or 2 lines about Filipinos in there. So I used to say to them, I said, where's all my people at? And they used to tell me, man, there ain't nothing in there. I'm like, what you mean ain't nothing in there? Well, there ain't nothing in there. Who wrote the book? Who is he? Oh, who's this white dude? Right? And next thing you know, the teacher be like, you trying to challenge me? Yeah, I'm trying to challenge you. Like, go down to the office. So I'd be at the park, at Dolores Park, with all the thugs shooting hoop. Because I really wanted to learn, you know what I mean? Blowing on some trees, trying to figure this shit out. You know what I mean? So
right. Yeah, that education and history part is important. But I'm also about moving forward because I know one thing in our communities, we have way too much history and not enough future. And a lot of our allies have way too much future and not enough
look at
history.
Brother Solomon, man. Look at
So
Brother Solomon all the way, man, in Africa doing this thing, man. That's big, homie. That's super big. People need to know that and learn that. You know what I mean? Like you were saying earlier, John, the officer, JJ, he brings brothers all out there to Africa. You feel me? They got that program in LA where they bring Crips and Bloods out there and they coming together, man, and they dropping their flags because they seen the real truth and reality of what's really going on. Who's the really oppressor?
Right. Yeah. And on top of that, we got to stop oppressing each other. Because a lot of times we blame everybody else. But I'm watching in all industries, we oppress each other sometimes, and we have to stop because it's killing us and taking us out. But a lot of work that needs to be done, and I'm just blessed to be able to have this platform to be here with you two powerful brothers. Rudy, you know how much I admire and respect your work and what you mean to our communities. You mean a lot to our families and to our young people. When they see you out there, they know it's authentic and it's real, and we need that. And Solomon, the work you're doing across the country, doing things to impact people, man. This is what this work is all about. There's some people doing the work, but then it's like, do your work really impact the people? And I think the work you're doing, Rudy, you know how much impact you have. I see your shirts, your coats everywhere, your hoodies. I said, I got to do a little bit of work. I got to do some more work because I got to get me one of them UP hats and shirts, man. I got.
It's all good. Hey, Solomon, I got to get you some out there, bro. Where you at? Hey, Solomon is the king. King Solomon, man, he was the son of David, the wisest man on the earth, right?
Yes,
I think
sir.
a lot of people don't know that. You know what I mean? Solomon, man, was a deep brother, man. He was the one who wrote Proverbs in the Bible.
Yes, sir.
Come on, man.
For real. Well, we're going to go ahead. I'm going to let you brothers get on to the rest of your day. We're going to go ahead and end this show. I just want to say thank you both for again coming on and blessing the people with the gems, getting y'all information out there. Anybody want to connect with Rudy in the Bay Area? He is all over the Bay Area. His heart is in Frisco, but I see him everywhere out doing his work. We got Brother Solomon out there in Africa. I'll have you guys reach out to him. He got opportunities to get you out of the States and get you out to Africa and go see the real motherland from the lens of your eyes. I think that's deep and powerful. Amen. We're going to keep doing our job here at both sides of the conversation to change the narrative, let people know there are people that look like us that doing phenomenal things. Everybody's just not killing, robbing, and shooting. And there's a lot of our young people that's doing phenomenal things. And they start with brothers like Rudy and Solomon here tonight. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and start wrapping this thing up. This Thursday, we're going to have another Educational Thursday segment. We have a phenomenal sister coming on to talk about cryptocurrency, teaching some of the stock and investing thing, because y'all heard Solomon. He said financial literacy is the way. We got to empower our community with these economics. We got to get the financial justice that we need so that we can impact each other, so we're not waiting, so that we can really make the change and support each other. And that's what this segment is really all about, is promoting our Black and brown business and our community leaders so that we can patronize their business, help lift them up, because if they do good, they'll give us the opportunities that we need in our community to hire and bring resources to the community. So that's what this segment is all about. And then this Sunday, for everybody joining us, this Sunday, we're going to have another Sunday conversation at 2 p.m. We are having a conversation with the people in our community that suffer from disabilities or having different issues and things that's going on. We're going to hear about some of the things that they are dealing with, and let's find out how us as community can get behind them and support and advocate for them. I've heard so many conversations about there's not enough disabled ramps, there's not enough ADA buttons for them to get through buildings, access to light switches, bathrooms, different issues. Sometimes complaints have been made, and sometimes they're not being responded to. So we just want to have a little compassion and humility. A lot of times we do forget about those people that suffer with those needs, and we want to be in solidarity with them as well, and make sure that their voice is being heard, and we really have some compassion and humility about some of the things that they're struggling with, and find out as community, how do we help them, how do we support them to get the change that they need, so that they can have an experience even in the situation that they're that is successful and beneficial like everybody else. So that's going to be our Sunday conversation. If you would like to join, or you know somebody that has a disability, or you have a professional background in it and understand some of the struggles, and you would like to come on and be a part of this conversation, please go to our website, bothsidesoftheconversation.org, sign up for our Sunday conversation, and we'll get you on to help have this conversation. And then next Tuesday, we'll have another segment of Hidden Gems, where we have some more phenomenal people coming on, and some Black and brown businesses opportunities to come on and talk about the things that they're doing. So just looking forward to that. And with that being said, we're going to end tonight's segment. Thank you guys for showing up. Thank you for the United Players. My brother Solomon doing this.
Salute, John. Salute.
We'll see you guys for the next segment.
Hey,
Solomon. Hey, Solomon, I got hang time too, baby.